Hello, everyone. My name is Nana Kagga, as I like to introduce myself, and this is day 4 of quarantine of the extension of 21 days. Okay, so I am going to follow up with the episode I made about giving our children housework and chores so that they can earn their way in life. Now, I'm going to talk about teaching them manners. On top of hard work, let's teach them manners. There's a severe lack of manners that's going around these days, especially with the younger generation, especially with children. They don't greet anymore. They don't say thank you. They're not appreciative. And I think that stems, I think your child's manners are a reflection of yours. Because if you don't enforce manners, if you don't enforce your child to greet you or even the maid, or maybe your child, okay, you as a person, do not greet people unless they're of some level of importance. There's something that's really, really normal here. People will not say anything to each other anymore. Unless, of course, they want to get something from you or it's something that's important to say hello to so you remember them. So, your child's manners are actually a reflection of how you behave. And we need to literally teach them that good manners don't cost anything. If you wake up in the morning and the maid makes your bed, weyanzi. If the maid hands you a plate of food, weyanzi. If you see your parent coming down the stairs or in the morning, or rather you go to their room, you need to teach your children to greet first and greet properly. There's greeting like hi, hello, mommy, and then there's wasotianonya, wasotiano civil, which is really, really two very different things. And we need to really enforce that cultural aspect of it so that our children go through life being courteous, being polite, being empathetic. When you teach a child to say thank you to a person of any level, they will remain humble up to a certain point. But if you teach your child that you only say thank you to things you consider of extreme value, then you have a problem. Now, the other thing I want to talk about as well, okay, manners, we'll get back to greeting and we'll get back to thanking, but also teaching our children not to touch anything unless they ask in your home or any other person's home. Kubanga bannanga abaana ab'empisa embi, omwana ayingira mu maka go n'atandika okwemakula. I don't know if you guys know what kwemakula is in Luganda. Starts touching that, touching this, touching that, opening the fridge. They don't ask for whatever they find in the fridge. Wembeera mu soda omwana ne yejjiramu n'atandika okunywa. Kwegamba technically you're raising a little hooligan. But we have this whole thing where we tell people, they either go to international schools or they were raised abroad. Manners are universal. And there's something so important about African cultural manners. They teach you respect as well. The way we greet our parents. Some people, especially in Chaganda culture, are against kneeling. I'm not. I can never greet my father or my mother standing up. It was instilled in me as a child. So it's almost a way of subconsciously respecting them. I can never talk back to my father simply because when I address him, it's in a position where he's still an elder. He's still the man that raised me, the man that made me. I don't know how to describe it, but abaganda wofukame gambo babasotia no sebo, sibiotia no sebo, wanji sebo. These days, when you call a child, they go, huh? My kids had started doing it as well. And I'm like, who are you addressing that way? If I call you and I'm your mother, it's very simple to say wanji nyabu. Also, it doesn't mean you as an adult cannot be conscious of your manners. I've seen people where someone will call you, and in Chiganda culture, it doesn't matter of what stature that person is. You say, "Wanjinyabo, nedanyabo, yes, sebo." And it also, it's very, very important in relationships to address your partner or your family member as correctly as you can in the cultural norms. This idea that westernized values are the ones that we should lead with are absolutely ridiculous. When a child, I can tell about 6, comes to you and maybe the mother or the father says, "Can you greet this lady?" And the child's like, "Hi." It shows a sign of irresponsible parenting. Because, first of all, your child is African. Why isn't this child? I don't care if you greet me in Nan Luganda, but you greet me, even if it's in English, but with respect, not hi. Say good afternoon, madam, or good afternoon, sir. It's important that our children have manners so that we do not raise a bunch of little hooligans that believe that they're entitled to everything, they're entitled to take. Because if you don't have manners, basically you're just a little thug. I'm sorry to say that. But we are raising our children with excuses as well. Omwana tabuuzizza talina kyakoze, and then you start saying, omwana wange oyo omulaba, oyo omwana bw'atyo. How can a child have preformed character at the age of 6? It doesn't make sense to me. It's for you as the parent to shape it. Teach them manners, teach them respect, teach them appreciation, teach them gratitude. The other thing that I want to tell parents today in this time of COVID, if you've been slacking on your children's manners or characteristics that you didn't pick up because they were always at school, you need to address them now. The maid is not the one that should teach your child manners. The teacher is not the one that should teach your child manners. They're there to supplement on what you do, how you raise your child. Teachers and maids are not there to raise our children, and they should not be the one that are instilling character in them. And we need to be very, very conscious as we're sitting in this period of 21 days. I keep going back to 21 days, but it's there. And in this period of 21 days, that we start to really, really be conscious and start looking at your child. Do they say thank you? Do they say please? Do they address people that are older than them appropriately, regardless of class or stature? And also, we as individuals need to now be more conscious of our manners. Because we've been in an environment where you wake up in the morning, the maid will make you breakfast, you won't thank them. So your children can see you don't thank them. So picking up on that, why should they thank them when you don't thank them? We lead by example. It's very, very important that we understand that. Then also the idea that you can get in a car by yourself, this man that you call a driver will drive you to wherever you need to go. You just get out of the car. You get in the car, you don't greet them because you're entitled to have a driver. And then you get to where you're going and you don't thank them. These people are human beings. And they remember little things like that. Saying Basotia no sebo as you sit in a car and saying Neans is that sebo never parking awali kanzije. It's very simple. It's just words, but the consciousness, the subliminal mind must be aware to be courteous and grateful. It doesn't take much, and we have abandoned our cultures in pursuit of westernized values, and we think that we know how to behave. If you don't have a sense of culture, you don't have a sense of self, how will you have the direction to know what's right and what's wrong? Knowing who you are is the first thing in knowing where you want to go and how you want to behave along the way. So knowing who we are first is important. Then we must transfer this to our children. Omwana omuto tasobola butabuuza, tasobola buteeyanza. Omwana omuto tayingiranga mu maka g'abantu ne yeemakula n'akwata ku bintu nga tebamugambye. Abo be tuyita omwana ogw'empisa embi oba obwana bw'ensi yaleeta. And there you are as a mother, not even aware that there's something seriously wrong, or there as a father not seriously aware there's something wrong. The other thing that I wanted to touch on today, I want to address the ideology of mothers who really take care of themselves, but do not take care of the children. Have you been to a function and this woman walks in? She looks like $1,000,000. She looks absolutely fantastic. Nails are done, hair is done. And then you see the children behind her that are unkempt, ill-dressed, not taken care of, behaving any which way they want. Ladies, cut your children's nails. Make sure that they have party clothes or function clothes or wherever you're going. Make sure that they just match you. They are a reflection of who you are. Or in this case, let me say, your father raising a child. you need to be conscious of so much. We need to go back to old school parenting where we are aware of our children. I'll still go back to this. Ladies, do not be selfish enough to take care of your child, of yourself, of your body, your hygiene, but your children look like little ragamuffins. They will grow up and they will transfer that on because as parents, we don't understand. We are the, how do you say, if a child's been traumatized under you, they'll carry on that legacy. If there's been physical abuse in their lives, they will carry on doing that to other people. If you've been hit before, if you've been neglected, and you haven't been loved and taken care of, you will go ahead in life to neglect your progeny or your partner or whoever you end up with. So, parents, I don't know if this makes sense. Again, the ramblings continue, Nakinyuguzi style. But please, 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 I did say about chores. Now I've moved on to manners. Maybe I should have led with manners first. But it is so important that our children are instilled with good manners, and it always starts with culture. That is something that I will touch on, culture, because I'm a very passionate Muganda woman. So it's it's something that I do love to talk about, and I love to talk about how great the Uganda kingdom was and still is, and what a great people we are. I don't know about other kingdoms. I can only talk about mine, and I apologize for that. In other news, I just want to say something that's really, really is fascinating me. It is just too juicy. So Donald Trump goes ahead and cuts funding to the World Health Organization under this COVID-19 pandemic, which is a global humanitarian crisis. So Donald Trump, being the overprivileged, I will say this, being the overprivileged man-child bully that he is, says, "Oh, we will not give you any more money." So China, in the play, which scene are we in? So China in Scene 10, Act 1, steps up and says, "Checkmate. We'll even increase the 500 million that the US has been giving World Health Organization, and we'll give you 800 million. Right behind China, Saudi Arabia says, "I will give 500 million US dollars." So now the US has been checkmate. It's a game of chess. So it almost makes me wonder, is that why Putin put Donald Trump in power for this exact scenario? Because the Chinese have won without even firing a single missile. I'm keeping my popcorn on ice and a good glass of whiskey so we can watch how this one pans out. The Nakinyuguzi Chronicles. Until the next episode, I'll see you soon.